Hey everyone, Becky checking in from Virginia. I guess this is my second to last video that's getting kind of exciting. Of course, I've been having a busy week. It's been actually extremely busy this week. And the PAC team is getting more and more clients. Actually involved in a training that I'm facilitating for 10 days, which just started this week, so that has to do with my full-time job, but it's been grueling because I'm doing it 2 days a week for 5 weeks, and it's a state training, so it's kind of exciting. It's the first time that I've been involved in giving this training, and I'm not only giving it to people in my my catchment area of my CSB, but other regions as well. The training gets announced across the state, and so you can have up to 12 people in the training. I actually have a waiting list for my next training, so I will be busy. And it's the certification to become a peer supporter in the state of Virginia. So in my internship, my field instructor who been working on this, she wanted me to do a presentation or to start actually a recovery steering committee at the agency to talk about there's all this push for and it has been for a while, to become a more recovery oriented system of care, what that means and what that means we're moving from. I mean, there's always been a push lately to be more person-centered. This has been going on since the 90s, but there's still some folks in the old mode of delivering services, or she calls it old school mental health. But she wanted me to start this steering committee with other department heads in our agency. And I actually just wrote up my process recording, which is a little late because I did this first initial meeting, which happened yesterday. So I gave a presentation on recovery-oriented systems of care and what they are, and then what I started with each of the department heads that attended the meeting to assess ourselves and how recovery-oriented we are at our agency, what we do well, what we don't do well, or what we could do better, try to put a positive spin. I led the presentation by saying, to talk about, we do a lot of things really well at the agency, but what we can do better, and especially moving from the medical model of mental illness being a disability to more the recovery model, the civil rights model of recovery that we're in right now, especially with the peer movement and just looking more at not looking at the illness so much. We do a really good job of treating the illness, the symptoms, but we don't always do the best job of treating the stigma, and the stigma is much of a burden as the illness itself for someone with mental illness. And my instructor just wanted me to, she says we really need the discussion to start happening, especially with everything that's going on in the agency, and she's actually the clinical director for the agency, so that's why we wanted to start this steering committee, and I did it as part of my internship project. And so we wanted to ask 2 questions for this. It was what principles of recovery should guide the field in the future, therefore our agency in the future, and what ideals could make the field more recovery oriented, or our agency more recovery oriented. Also in this, I gave out an RSA survey, and this is a survey from Yale, I believe, and it is a 35 question survey that you can give for providers, and we went through each question. It says like a question like, the program agency offer an inviting and dignified physical environment And we just went through each question and assessed ourselves, and we're going to give this. The instruction is to give it to the people in our departments, and then come back with results of how this started the discussion in the departments. I also used the article Us Is Them, working with the psychiatrically labeled. I really like this article from my work as an MSW student. I'm running out of time, but I do want to ask, since we are getting to the end and we've had a lot of research and classes and such, if there's any materials that you've learned that resonate with you that you take on with your practice. There's a couple of things that I always think about in terms of my education. One of them, there's a couple articles like that we had to read. Us Is Them, working with the psychiatrically label. It's by David Pritchard. I think he's actually still a teacher at the university. He actually got his I think he did his doctorate work at VCU, which is where I went to undergraduate school. So that's one of my favorite articles. I share this a lot with people I work with. And then there's also the writings of Dean, and come from a position of not knowing. So I just wanted to know what you use in your practice. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, what's so late. Have a great week. Bye.